Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn about what is virtual environment, what is the use of virtual environment, and how we can create the virtual environment of our project in a Django. So let's start with what is virtual environment. Virtual environment is nothing but where we can store the dependency of our project. Dependency means whatever the package required for our project that we can stored inside of the virtual environment. Okay, virtual environment is nothing but one folder where we can store our all the dependency of our project. Okay, so what is the use of virtual environment and why we need that virtual environment? So whenever we are working with multiple projects of Django and Python, so every project is working on different version of Python and Django, right? So whenever we required to work with multiple projects with different versions of Python and Django, so that time we can create the virtual environment for each and every project. So we can store each and every project's requirement at individual virtual environment. So whenever you want to work for that particular project, so you can get that requirement from that virtual environment, so your project will be run immediately. If you are install all the requirements globally, then you must need to install requirement every time for whenever you are start work on that particular project. Okay, so this is basically a pre-requirement, we can say, whenever we start working with multiple projects. So this is the best practice to create the virtual environment while we are uh, working with multiple projects or any projects with Django and Python. So let's see how to create the virtual environment. So for creating the virtual environment, you must need to install the pip. So in this series we are using the Django 3.0. Okay, so for that we are using only the Python 3 for that Django 3.0, because Django 3.0 is only support the Python 3. So we need to install the pip 3. So you can install the pip 3 in your system, any Linux system. Okay, and if you are using Windows, then at a time of installation you must need to install a pip, so you don't need to install the pip separately. So let's see how to install the pip here. So as you can see on the screen, you can see the command of Python 3 pip. So this will basically install the Python 3 pip inside of your system. Okay, so that is nothing but sudo apt-get install python 3 -pip, and after that we need to install the virtual environment. So whenever we need to install any package, so that time we need to use pip 3 because we are using Python 3. Okay, and we have installed the pip 3 using that command, and pip install virtual in env. And pip3 is nothing but the package manager. Using that you can install any package which required in your Django project. Okay, so let's install the virtual environment. Using this command you can install the virtual environment. Command is pip3 install virtual env, and after that you can see virtual env -version to check if uh, virtual env is properly installed or not. So as you can see here, so let me clear this screen so you can see the version of that virtual env 20.0.21. Okay, so my virtual environment is installed. And how we can create the virtual environment for our project? So for that you need to do virtual env -p, means which Python version, for which Python version you want to create the virtual environment. So I want to create the virtual environment for Python 3. Okay, because our Django 3.0 is supported only the Python 3. Okay, then virtual env -p python 3. After that you need to give virtual environment name. So virtual environment name you can choose anything. I am evn. Okay, or we can say venv. Okay, and I am using this. Then my virtual environment is created inside of my folder. Okay, I am using ls, so you can see the virtual environment inside of this. So how we can use this virtual environment, how we can activate this virtual environment in our Linux system? So for that we need to use this command source venv, after that bin and activate. This command is used to activate your virtual environment. So for that, source venv is your name of your virtual environment. After that, bin / activate and press enter. So your virtual environment is activated now. And if you install any requirement inside of this, then if we install anything like pip install Django, okay, or we can say pip3 install Django, right? So pip3 install Django, then it will basically install this Django inside of our virtual environment, not a globally. Now our Django is installed inside of our virtual environment. So you must need to activate the virtual environment using that command. If you forgot to install that virtual environment, forgot to activate that virtual environment command, then your packages will be installed globally. So you make sure that your virtual environment is activated while you are running your project or installing the dependencies. Okay, so how we can see our dependency is installed inside of our virtual environment or not? So for that we have one command called pip3 freeze. So you can see all the requirements which installed inside of our virtual environment. So you can, so our virtual environment is created with Python 3. Okay, so how you can check that? After installing virtual env, and if you will run Python, then it will showing you the Python 3.7.5 or whatever version of Python 3 installed in your system. It will not show you the Python 2. Okay, and if I am deactivate this virtual environment using deactivate command, then run Python, then it will show me the Python 2 version. Okay, so this is how you can check your virtual environment is useful and for your project. Okay, I hope you have understood the concept of virtual environment. Thank you. See you in the next video.